welcome to Shine Yoga Online. My name is Becky and I teach at Shine. This will be a basic yoga class with some modifications to be accessible to most students. Please listen to your body. If you become out of breath or have any pain, back off to a resting pose, one where you don't feel any of those problems. For our class today, you might want to have a couple props. You don't need any fancy yoga things. If you have a yoga block and blanket, that's great. If not, you could use a beach towel and maybe some boxes from your pantry of equal size. So we can make do with just about anything. And once again, thank you for joining me today in my practice. First thing we want to do is come to a comfortable seat. You can sit with one ankle in front of the other or in a crisscross position, or you can put your legs out, one leg out straight, whichever makes you comfortable. That's the most important part of our centering, so that you can go inside and focus on your body. So as we get settled in, please find a comfortable resting spot for your hands. Could be in your lap or on your knees. Get the wiggles out, adjust your hips. Feel them really weigh into whatever cushion you may be sitting on. And then gently, if you feel comfortable doing so, close your eyes, or at least just let them become a little heavy so that you can turn inward. Letting go of anything that may be worrying you, concerning you. We know there are a lot of things out there to be worried and concerned about, but it's really of no value. It doesn't change anything, and it depletes us of energy. So let's try to stay in the moment. Look for things that are positive, and go on with our new normal. Start to look to your breath, just noticing it. Is it a little uneven? Is it mostly in your chest? We're not going to judge here, we're just going to observe. And as we observe, you'll probably notice that it starts to change. So let's go ahead and see if we can start to expand our inhale, starting it at the bottom of our abdomen towards our pelvic floor, and gradually bringing it up towards our shoulder blades, our collarbones, and then fully exhaling all that used up breath that no longer serves us. And give it one final little push at the bottom of your abdomen, getting rid of everything and making room for the new. And we'll just continue with that, inhaling slowly, and exhaling fully. As you repeat this cycle, you might notice that things start to relax. The muscles let go of some tension, and that's good. Shoulders move away from the ears and relax. Hips get a little bit heavier on your mat. So continue with that full inhale. And the complete exhale. And now that you have that flowing, we normally bring our hands to Anjali Mudra. Both palms are touching. Our elbows are pointing out. And we're feeling the warmth generated right there in front of our heart. And continue your breathing. I will chant one Om for you. We normally do this at the beginning of class and at the end of class to bring our voices together, to bring our community together. So if you're comfortable at home doing this, feel free. It's just a blessing to all of us, bringing the vibration of our bodies together. So I'm going to inhale, exhale completely, inhale fully. And gently we'll open our eyes, coming back into the room and begin our movement phase. I will be moving from facing you to a side angle, just whichever way it seems you'll be able to see the pose the best, but you can feel comfortable to just stay in whatever position you're pointed in right now. I will just be trying to accommodate so you can see my movements. So first thing we're going to do is just come to hands and knees. It's always a good idea to pad the knees. We want to protect our joints and our body in yoga so that it can be working for a long time. I've been practicing 25 years, and that can put a lot of wear and tear on our bodies, so you want to be conscientious of that. As we come to our hands and knees, we're going to spread our fingers. We're going to make sure all four corners of our palm are on the floor, and that's to distribute our weight evenly. Shoulders are right over the wrists. My feet are tucked behind me. My toes are tucked under. My knees are right underneath my hips, and this is called table pose. So I'm going to begin to undulate my spine a little bit, warming it up, waking it up. And to do that, I'm going to arch like a Halloween cat. And then I'm going to let my belly fall towards the earth. My chest is going to go forward and my gaze is going to go forward. So I'll go back and forth with that movement at my own pace. Linking it with your breath is always good. Inhaling on one movement and exhaling on the opposite. Just continue with that. I'm going to take off my overshirt here so that you can see my movements a little more clearly. And you're continuing with your cat-cow movements. Breathing in and breathing out. Remember to take full deep breaths in and exhale completely. My hands are pushing into the floor. My arms are straight. And after your last arch, let's go ahead and come back to our stable table pose. And we're going to take our right foot and just extend it out behind you. I'm really pressing that heel away energetically. Giving a good long stretch to all those muscles. We may have been sitting quite a bit. This probably feels good. And then lift that right leg up and take it outside of your left leg. Still pushing the heel away. And I'm going to take a peek over my left shoulder to gaze at the toes in the back, really opening up my right side body, being sure to breathe. You can tell I'm breathing because I can talk. If you can't talk during your exercise, you probably need to back off just a little bit. And that feels really good. Let's do it on the other side. So we'll come back to table, take our left leg behind us, really energetically. I'm not moving my body back like that. I'm just pushing my heel away, feeling that nice, strong stretch of the muscles. They're engaged, pulling into the bones of the leg. And then I'm going to lift my foot and take it over the right foot and do the same thing on this side. Opening up that side body. Coming back to center. We're going to go from table. You have two options here. My suggestion is that we widen the knees a little bit and come into a child's pose, nice and gentle. If that is a strain, you can always take your block or box and put it underneath your tush. If that is not good for your knees, we have another option, and that's puppy pose. So from table, you're going to extend your arms in front of you, about a foot or so, and then just take the hips back a little bit. It's not such a deep bend on your knees. So whichever one is good for you. I'll just stay here now that I'm here. And from here, we're going to walk our hands over to the left. And once again, opening up that side body. Feels really good. And coming back through center, we always want to find a neutral spot between poses if we can. And then we're going to take our arms over to the right, really opening up this side body here. It's important to open up those ribs and help expand the capacity of the lungs. We're going to come back into our stable table pose. And the next pose is down dog. It is very well known in yoga. So we're going to take it nice and easy. We're going to press into our hands, keep our arms straight. We're going to keep one long line from the crown of our head all the way back to the tip of our tailbone. And we're going to gently lift our knees off the floor, taking our tush up towards the ceiling. My goal here is just keep the arms straight, my ears in line with my arms, and it's not to get my feet to the ground or stretch my legs straight. It's to keep that long line between the crown of the head and the tip of the tailbone. I'm going to come back down to table, and we can try that another couple times just to get used to it. Coming up and down into our down dog. Once again, lifting up. This time, you might want to stretch one leg a little straight and bend the other knee a little deeper. And we call this walking the dog. We've been doing quite a lot of that at our house. My dog thinks he's very lucky to have everybody home all day. And then carefully bend your knees, and we're going to walk our hands, just placing them one after the other, back to our feet. We can use a block or a box if this seems a little bit hard to reach the floor, and extend the legs a little bit just to where you're comfortable. And then we're going to sweep our arms up and overhead and hands back down to heart center. Let me get that block out of the way. And we're going to come to mountain pose. So mountain pose is where we check the position of our feet. And we're going to make sure that the second toe on our foot is parallel to the other. All four corners of our feet are touching the ground. And we're really establishing roots, making ourselves strong, ready for anything. The mountain weathers any storm. It doesn't worry. It doesn't think about the future. It just stays strong. Then, as we get our feet in alignment, we're going to look and just take a little peek that our knees are over our heels, our hips are over our knees, and our shoulders are over our hips. The head is in line with the body, not reaching forward. We do a lot of that with texting and social media. And then you can bring your hands to heart center once again here, placing the thumbs on the heart and looking inside. Is your heart free of worry and concern? Don't waste your energy on that. Keep your energy for the things that bring you joy. All right, we're going to circle sweep our arms up over our head, and then we're going to bring them down and place them just above our knees on our thighs. This is called Bandhasana pose, and I'm going to turn so you can see it a little better. So our Bandhasana is also called skier's pose. We're working the thighs here more than you would think. And we're once again working for that long line between the crown of the head and the tip of the tailbone. And we'll do a little bit of that cat-cow action here. So we're gonna arch our back like a Halloween cat, and then we're going to exaggerate the arch in our back, pushing that tailbone away, back and forth. And if you can link this movement with your breath, that's ever so helpful. All right, let's clear away any props that we have on the mat. To make room, we're going to do a little bit of flow here today, really gentle, no worries. Get yourself all situated. So we're going to come into mountain pose, lifting our arms up overhead and come back in to that Bandhasana or skier's pose. Then we're going to come over into a forward fold. So I'm keeping my knees very much bent, almost as if my tummy is laying on my thighs, and I'm going to reach for the floor. Once again, if that's a hard reach, I'm going to lift the floor up to my hands with some blocks or boxes. All right, just get comfortable here. Then I'm going to come up, flatten my back, bring my palms to my shins, and then come back over into my forward fold. I'm going to take my right leg back behind me, and at this point I want to bring my left foot forward just a little bit to make sure that my knee is right above my ankle. I'm really pushing that back heel away like we did earlier. And then I'm just going to bend that back knee. I'm going to get a little momentum going, and I'm going to push forward and bring that back foot forward, coming to a half forward or a forward fold. I'm going to take my left leg back, same thing. This time I reached back a little farther, so I don't have to adjust that foot. It's something that comes with practice. And right here we're opening up those hips, opening up the groin area. No need to let the hips sink down. That's not really productive. We're going for one long line from the back of our heel this time through the crown of our head. Bend that back knee, get a little momentum going, and you're going to step forward. Coming to our forward fold. We're going to come into a table pose, so just take one leg back and the other. And from here, we're going to come into a down dog. Keep those knees bent as much as you like. And I'm making a nice long line from my wrists all the way up to my tailbone. Walk that dog out a little bit. Bring your knees down to the ground. They'll be a little behind your hips at this point. Arms right over, or shoulders right over your wrists. We're going to bend our elbows all the way back, coming down to the ground from our plank, modified plank pose. Let the tops of your toes reach the floor, and just bending up into a little cobra pose. Bring my head back down to the floor. I'm going to push with my hands and my knees and bring myself up and go back into that child's pose if it's comfortable for you. Take a minute to gather your breath here. Look inside again. Sometimes we have to do a little self-talk to keep ourselves calm. We're going to go back up into our down dog and then walk our hands back to our feet. Circle, sweep the arms up and back into our mountain pose. Hands resting at the heart. All right, so we're going to try that again. I'll face you this time now that you've seen the poses, and we'll take it a little quicker, a little more smoothly. All right, so circle, sweep the arms up and overhead, over, hands to the thighs, and we're going to arch and bow the back with our cat-cow poses in Bandhasana. We're going to come over into a forward fold. Hands can rest on a block. We're going to take our right foot back. Nice stretch. Take your time to get situated. Make sure that you're protecting your ankles and your knees. I'm going to get a little bit of momentum, rocking back and forth, and bring that front foot back up to meet the other. I'm going to take my left foot back, really stretching that back leg away from my hips. I'm going to get a little bit of momentum and bring that back foot forward. If it takes a couple of tries, no worries. Okay, we're going to come down to our table pose. If you're comfortable with it, you're welcome to go straight into down dog, but sometimes it's easier to come down to the table first and then push up. You'll notice that my shoulder blades are coming together, but my shoulders are actually rolling away from my ears. We're going to just lower our knees, bring our shoulders over our wrists. I'm going to take my elbows straight back and lower myself down to the mat. Laying my toes down on the floor. I'm going to just bring my chest forward, my gaze forward for a little cobra pose. Head back down to the ground. Push into the floor with your knees and your hands. Coming back up into that knee down plank pose and then back into our down dog. Be sure you can breathe evenly here. And then we're going to walk our hands back to our feet, circle sweeping our arms up and overhead, and hands back down to heart center. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. Adjust anything you need to. And this time, I'll do it from the side one more time. All right, so we're going to circle sweep our hands up and overhead. Bend the knees, coming into skier's pose. Nice, long, head's not dropping. Extended. The neck is an extension of the spine. And we're going to cat-cow. Linking our movement with the breath. Opening up the heart, opening up the chest, working those lungs. Slide your hands down to the floor or to your blocks. Take your right leg back, coming to a nice high lunge. On this one, let's go ahead and drop our back knee. Now we're going to engage our pelvic floor and engage our belly as we gather up our strength and lift our arms up. This is kind of a balance pose, so if you just prefer to stay in the lunge, that's fine. Then bring our hands back down, lift that back knee, and get a little bit of momentum, bringing the back foot forward. We'll do that same flow on the other side. Take your left foot back. Just expand, square those hips here, and then we're going to drop the knee. Engage, firm up that pelvic floor. Firm up the abdominal muscles. Gather your strength, and then lift your arms up for a little bit of a balance pose here. Everybody doing okay? Good. Hands back down to the floor. Lift the back leg, and a little momentum forward. All right. From here, we're going to come back into our table pose, unless you're ready to just step back into a down dog. That's perfectly good. Let's see if we can hold this down dog for a couple of breaths. Maybe walking it out a little bit. Nice, everybody. Bring our knees down, coming to a modified plank pose. And we're going to take the elbows back, chest to the floor. Hands are right at chest height. We're going to bring our chest forward, our gaze forward, A little back bend here, coming into Cobra. Harder to breathe when we're on our belly. Lower the forehead back down, press into the floor, and lift yourself up. And back into down dog. Wiggle it out. Any movement that would feel good to you here. I'm just going to hold down dog. If you want to raise a leg, you're welcome to do that. Anything that would feel good. And then once again, we're going to walk our hands back to our feet. That's a little easier most times. We're going to lift up to standing for most yogis. So that's why I'm showing that this class. All right. So we're going to do some standing poses. This setup, I don't have a nice wall to go to. If you do, some of these might be good at the wall for a little bit of balance, a little bit of support as you try to balance, but you should be good just standing in place. So first thing we're going to do is go back to that Bandhasana pose. So we bring our hands to our thighs, and we're just going to let our thighs build up a little heat right here. All right? And if we feel like we're up to it, we can kind of scoop our hands down towards the floor, sit back like we're going into a chair, and bring our arms up and forward. This is called chair pose, Utkatasana. If it's easier, you can bring your hands to a cactus pose, elbows bent, palms facing down towards the floor. Or if you like, you can have a little dynamic movement there. Back and forth. Are you feeling the heat? All right, go ahead and come to standing, and then we're going to circle down into a forward fold. Take your left foot back first, and we're not going to stay in this high lunge. We're going to turn the heel of our left foot down behind us, and the toes are going to come forward. We're going to put our right arm on our thigh and open it up a little bit. So this is called side angle pose. You should notice that the heel of your front foot lines up with the heel or the arch of your back foot. The toes on the back foot should be turned in just slightly, or at least perpendicular to the wall for me. You don't want them pointing away from your hips. I like to lean forward just a little bit and then open my chest up towards the ceiling, and then my hand can come up either straight towards the ceiling or alongside my ear. I'm looking to increase the distance between my right hip and my right armpit. So really extending one long line from the tip of my fingers all the way down to the back of my heel. Let's go ahead and circle that arm a little bit. First taking it back, and then the other direction. Good work, everybody. Doesn't it feel good to be moving? And then we're just going to take our chest towards our front thigh and let the hand just swing down there and relax. Release all the tension. Let it go. All right, from here, I'm going to put my hand on my hip, press into the floor and bring my torso up to standing, and then I'm going to turn my feet, my toes, towards the front of the room. Now, this might be a little unstable for some of you, being wide apart, so it would feel better to bring your feet in a little bit. That's perfectly fine. We're going to bend our knees on the way down, or you can turn the toes out a little bit too if that's more comfortable. We're going to bring our hands to the blocks or to the floor, knees still bent, and just rock a little side to side. Bringing your hands slowly to your knees, gently lifting up, maybe open the toes a little bit farther. We're going to do a goddess pose. We're all goddesses, strong and fierce. No worries here. And then we'll do that cactus pose again with our arms. So you can see my elbows are out from my shoulders, palms are facing forward, and we're gonna lift up and back down. Up and back down. I'm so glad to be practicing with you today. I miss my yoga classes. Can't wait to get back. Up and down. And now we're just going to reverse our feet. So our right foot, the toes are going to turn in, heel will go out. Our left toes are going to go straight forward. And then we're going to bend that front knee. We want to make sure that the knee does not go in front of the ankle or that it turns in. This puts a lot of pressure right here. So really make sure that your knee is going towards the baby toe side of your foot. Hand will come to rest on the thigh. Once again, I'm going to take my torso a little bit forward, and then I'm going to open it up to the ceiling, to the sky. I'm going to lift my arm, my right arm this time. And if I'd like to, I'm going to go ahead and take that alongside my ear and just breathe. Longest extension possible from the tips of your fingers all the way down to those toes. And then we're going to circle once again. Nice big circles. Take it slow. Feel that action in your shoulder. If there's any place that you feel a catch on the next time around, be sure you really slow it down there. Maybe go back and come back through to give that a little extra love. And then we're going to go in the opposite direction. Nice, everybody. And then we're going to take our torso towards our thigh and just let all tension release from that shoulder. Maybe take a deep breath in here, it feels good. And let it out with a sigh. Press down into the floor, lifting the torso, bring the feet forward again, and step them together. And come into your mountain pose. Maybe take a moment to close your eyes. Focus. Look into your heart. Are there any worries there that are not really serving you, that you can let go of? Things that you know will eventually work themselves out. Conserve your energy for the things that you really do have some degree of control over. All right, so from here, if you want to go to the wall for any bit of support, you're welcome to. In a minute, we're going to do a little wall dog, and I'm just going to show you on my TV stand here, but you can do it with your arms on the wall. So let's do a couple of arm stretches first. Let's take our arms up overhead and take your thumbs behind you, pointing behind you. I'm going to make sure that I don't let my ribs and my stomach jut out here. I'm keeping that nice alignment of knee over ankle, hip over knee, shoulder over hip. All right, and my head is going upright. I'm just going to let my thumbs go down towards the floor. Elbows are not going to splay out. Maybe my hands come together. And just stretch those triceps a little bit. Oops, my stomach started to go out. Keep that tummy firm. Bottom of the ribs are not jutting forward. All right. Bring our arms back up and down to your sides. We're going to take our right arm out in front of us and really reach it away, and then bring it back. Shoulder will fit right back into the socket there, and we're going to draw that arm in front of our body and maybe brace it with the left wrist. You're going to feel that nice stretch in the shoulder blades across the shoulders. This is really important, especially with us spending so much time on social media and on the computers, to keep our shoulders and our necks at ease. All right, great. Let's do the other side. Okay. And if you are a little confused, I am not mirroring you, so just whichever arm. You don't have to look just like me. And then bring that arm straight across. Make sure the shoulder is staying back, You're not letting it creep forward so that you're getting the real stretch. Nice. And let those arms come down. We're going to take both hands. We're going to interlace the fingers. Pay attention to which pinky is on top here. We're going to stretch our arms straight and once again, exaggerate and reach forward, rounding your shoulders. And then we're going to bring them back into the sockets and lift those arms overhead. If you can't get them quite overhead, that's all right. We don't want to lose that containment. We want to keep our shoulders back, rib cage, bottom of the rib cage in, belly engaged. We're going to bring our hands down, and this time we're going to take the opposite pinky on top and do the exact same thing. So stretching the arms out, bring them back into the sockets, and lift the arms just high enough that you can keep the integrity of the pose. And hands back down to your side. And one last one. Let's give ourselves a big hug. All right? So extend your arms out straight. Take the left elbow on top of the right and stretch your hands as far as you can around your back. Maybe you can reach just inside the shoulder blades and massage there a little bit. All right, really opening up those shoulders. Take your arms all the way out, come back, left elbow over right, reaching around behind, giving yourself a big hug. Yes. I'm a hugger. I miss this. And bring your arms back out. We're going to go to the wall, or if you don't have a wall handy like you can use a TV stand, you can use the back of a chair. We're just going to come over, excuse me for a moment, and stand about torso distance away from the wall. You can step a little closer than that. Put your hands either on the wall, palms on the wall, or palms on your flat surface. We're going to step back a little bit, keeping our knees bent. We're going to take our hips back. We're going to extend the arms all the way straight. Knees can still be bent. Tailbone and crown of the head, longest line possible. Arms are fully extended. Ears are right between the upper arms. And then if you feel you're able, you can extend those knees and straighten it out. Kind of making a square or a box. Breathing here, not letting our belly sag down like a swayback horse. We want to engage, keep the back lifted. And then to come out of it, we're going to bend our knees and step forward towards the wall or chair. All right, let's do that 2 more times. So go up to your instrument, whatever it happens to be. Put your hands flat on the surface or up against the wall. Bend your knees. Straighten the back. If you need to step back a little bit more to have plenty of room, that's fine. And then extend the knees straight if you can. Bend the knees to come out of it and come up to standing. And why don't you try that one time on your own? So hands on the wall or on your flat surface. Bend the knees. Take the hips back. Really extend from crown to tip of the tailbone. And if you can step back a little bit further and straighten the legs out, that's great. Be sure you're breathing into your back area. Really feel that nice stretch, that nice opening in the rib cage. Nice opening in the shoulders. Shoulders are pulled away from the ears. And then step forward towards the wall and come up to standing. We're going to do a thigh stretch. So if you are at the wall and you need a little bit of support, you can just put your hand out. Or if you are feeling pretty stable, we're going to stand and really root our feet down into the earth. We're going to get our balance, coming to our mountain pose, firm and steady. And then we're going to bring our right knee forward enough that we can grab the ankle. And then we're going to bring our knee down so that it's pointing pretty close to towards the floor, but we don't want to push our hip forward. So better to have a little hollow space right here. Making sure your shoulder, invite that to open up. And I've been doing this a long time, so balance is not a big problem for me, but feel free to hold on to the wall or the back of a chair. And then we're going to bring that knee forward just a little bit and then back down to the ground, and we'll do the other side. If it would be helpful, you can step off of your mat. That padding sometimes can make it a little bit harder to get steady. I'm going to lift my foot forward. This time I am going to hold on to the wall because I have some issues with this ankle. And so just admit to yourself what's possible and what isn't. Once I get steady, I can take my hand away. My knee is pointing somewhat down towards the floor. It is parallel to my other thigh. I'm not letting it go out. That really is not helpful. I'm going to bring my knee forward and plant it down on the ground. All right, we're going to work our way down to the floor, working our way to Shavasana, the resting pose. Really the most beneficial part of yoga. A lot of people want to skip it, but we don't want to do that. So let's just circle sweep our arms up and bend our knees to come into a forward fold. We're going to come to a table pose. Sitting back on our heels just long enough to turn our bodies forward. Come to a seated pose. I'm going to get my support, whether it be a blanket or a towel. And I'm going to put that underneath my hips. And that keeps my back from overarching. And we're going to do a pose that looks very simple, but it really takes a lot of effort and engagement. So it's a good example of how we can be engaged but not tense. So we're going to draw our toes back towards, legs are extended, the muscles are really pulling into the bone. My back is straight, my spine and my neck, one long line from the tip of my tailbone all the way to the crown of my head. And I'm going to place my hands, palms down on the floor, and I'm going to really just be engaged, not relaxed, engaging all my muscles. This is called Dandasana or staff pose. Breathing, full inhale, full exhale. The balls of my feet are pushing away, but my toes are flexed back towards me. My shoulders are not slumping. I'm breathing. And then we can let that relax a little bit. Keep the legs engaged. Bring your right hand outside of your left thigh and your left hand behind you for a little bit of a twist. Be sure to lift up in your spine and then look behind you, using your gaze as your guide. And then you're going to do the other side. I don't want to look away for too long. But you're going to take your left hand outside of your right thigh, your right hand behind you, and take your gaze behind your right shoulder. That feels good. Let's go ahead and bring our right ankle on top of our left shin, and we're going to put our hands back just a little bit to get ourselves going upright, and then we're going to walk them forward somewhat and see if, keeping the spine long, we can just lean forward an inch or two. Maybe with each inhale, full and deep, and then on the exhale, maybe you can go a half an inch deeper. And when you feel like you've reached your max, you can go ahead and round that back just a little bit, coming forward. So long as there is no discomfort, you don't have any back issues. Coming back up, we're going to do the other side. So left ankle is going to go over right shin. Lift yourself up, and then walk your hands forward, taking your torso Nice straight line. You'll feel that in the back of the hamstring. Deep inhale. Maybe you can exhale a little bit farther forward. One more deep inhale. Exhale, maybe a little bit farther. And then round if you have no issues. Being sure to breathe, really filling up your lungs. Walking it back. Now we're going to come to bridge pose. So I'm going to get a block handy. You could get a box, or I found this Tupperware container. You might want to pad it with something if you're using something quite that hard. And I'm going to lay down on my back. My feet are going to be standing on the floor. My knees are going to be pointed up to the ceilings, and my heels are coming right behind my sits bones, those two bones in your hips that you sit on in your pelvis. And my arms are going to come in, my upper arms are going to come in towards my body, and I'm going to lift a little to bring my shoulder blades together, palms facing each other. I'm going to engage my glute muscles. I'm going to engage my stomach muscles. I'm going to take my tailbone towards my heels, and then I'm going to lift up, pressing the back of my head and my shoulders and the back of my arms into the floor. This is called bridge pose. I want to be sure to keep my chin reaching up towards the ceiling so that the back of my neck is not touching the floor. And then I'm going to slowly lower back down to the ground. Have that block handy. We're going to lift one more time and hold it and breathe. Maybe you can walk your shoulders a little bit closer together. Maybe your arms can come down and the whole arm presses in. Maybe you can engage your fingers underneath you. It's all a matter of degrees. One is not better than the other. They're just different. Just like we're all individuals, we're all different. Don't let your ego get ahead of you and try to push you into doing something that's not healthy for your body. I'm going to bring my arms back out. And this time when we lift up, we're going to put the block or your box, or you could do a blanket folded like we were sitting on. I'm going to just lift my hips up enough to slip the block right under that triangular sacrum, that triangular bone right above your tailbone. And I'm just going to rest. And it feels really good. Supported. We all need a little support right now. If I'd like to, I can bring my right knee in towards my chest and then lift it up towards the ceiling and slowly lower it towards the floor. As soon as I start to feel any engagement or tensing in my back, I want to bend my knee and bring my foot back to the floor. I'm going to bring the left foot in. Extend it up. See if you can straighten it. It doesn't have to be perpendicular to the floor, but trying to straighten the knee and then slowly lowering it. And when I start to feel a little tug in my lower back, I bend my knee and place my foot on the floor. That feels good. Let's do it a couple more times. Just on your own. Remembering to breathe. Starting to settle down. You've done some good work today, and you deserve some restoration. That's coming soon. Nice. All right, so we're going to engage our core once again. Just lift our hips enough to take that block out from underneath. We're going to separate our feet as wide as our mat. And then we're going to just move our knees from side to side. I'm going to turn and face you so you can see this a little bit better. So this is called Windshield Wipers. And I'm trying to focus on my belly button here. Really slowly going back and forth, giving my lower back a nice massage. We carry a lot of tension in our hips, in our lower back. A lot of worry and anxiety. And this is a nice self-care thing to do to release some of that. All right, if you're able, you might want to come into Happy Baby, or we also have what's called Half Happy Baby. So I'm going to bend my knee in towards my chest, grab the outside of my foot, and then bring my knee towards my armpit. This leg can stay where it is, and then I can kind of roll back side to side. My shoulders should be relaxed towards the mat. I should be breathing really easily now. And then you can let that go and do the other side. If you want to stretch the leg, bring it in, and then stretch it a little more straight. Anything that would really feel good to you right now. This is your practice. And then I'm going to sit up, but you're going to stay down, and we're going to start to prepare to come into Shavasana. So after you've finished with your baby pose, go ahead and just stretch out flat on the floor, really pointing your toes away from you and taking your hands up above your head if you can, getting as long and stretched out, kind of like that stretch in the morning when you first wake up. But we're about to start to rest, so don't get too invigorated. If you'd like to roll up a blanket or take a pillow and put it underneath your knees, that takes a little pressure off your lower back, although lying perfectly flat is good too. Let your arms go out to the side, palms up towards the ceiling. Let your legs relax. Your hips are going to get very heavy onto your mat. And your feet can splay open in whichever way feels comfortable to them. And you're once again going to start to focus on your breath. This would be a good time to close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And just really turn in once again. Observe that breath. You're probably still feeling your heart pump a little strong right now. It's going to calm down. Your breath is going to slow and deepen. Just let it happen. Shavasana, corpse pose, the resting pose, is the most healing part of our yoga practice. We want to get to a point of total relaxation so that when we feel stressed or worried in the outside world, when we're away from our mat, we can recall this feeling of peace and calm and bring it back to us. It does take practice. It can be hard work. For most yogis, Shavasana is the hardest, to really relax and let yourself go. But this is your time to do that. I'm just going to guide you and help you relax different parts of your body. I will read you a poem by one of my favorite authors, Mary Oliver, before we come out of Shavasana. Just reminding us that worry is fruitless. Let's direct our energy towards purposeful things, towards loving gestures, towards helping others. Once again, noticing your breath. Feeling it ride up and down your spine like the ocean waves. It breathes in all that you need and lets go of anything that is no longer serving you. Notice your tongue. Let it relax in the bottom of your throat, of your mouth. Relax your jaw, Widen the palate out towards the ears. Let the eyes rest in the back of their sockets. And your forehead becomes smooth, like a calm lake. Your shoulders resting on the support of the floor. Your heart open, ready to give and to receive. Your belly soft, allowing for the inflow and the outflow of your breath. Your hips and your buttocks are melted into the mat. There is no tension in the back of your knees, and your feet are finally free of the weight of your body. You can create space between all of your joints. And just be at peace. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. This poem is called Worry by Mary Oliver. I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? Will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Was I right? Was I wrong? Will I be forgiven? Can I do better? Will I ever be able to sing? Even the sparrows can do it, and I am, well, hopeless. Is my eyesight failing, or am I just imagining it? Am I going to get rheumatism, lockjaw, dementia? Finally, I saw that worrying had come to nothing. So I gave it up. I took my old body and I went out into the morning and sang. Slowly start to come back into the room, being a little more aware of the sounds and the feelings around you. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Stand your feet on the floor and bring your knees up towards the ceiling. And gently roll to either the right or the left side. Kind of curled up there like a little seed, like a little baby in the fetal position. Safe and warm in the womb. Breathe a little more deeply. And then using the strength of your arms, push yourself up to a seated position. And keeping your eyes closed if you can, gather up this feeling. This feeling of peace and calm. And know that it's just a breath, just a moment away when you need it. Once again, bringing our hands to heart center, palms pressing together, thumbs resting on the heart. We'll end our class. The light in me sees and honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Peace to everyone. Try to keep the worries at bay. Thank you for joining us here at Shine Online. Come back anytime.